Hi and welcome back. Let's have a little chat as to why the mainstream media would not publish the Sussex Squad story. Now, a few months ago, a number of YouTube channels, including myself, were in contact with mainstream media to put out some stories. Now, myself and someone else were the ones who put this out there, and we gathered all our evidence about threats, violence, etc. Now, every channel that was involved had absolute 100% proof, gave it to this person, and they really, really went to bat for us to put it out there. Now, it was meant to go like this. It was meant to go that the threats and the violence would go first, and then what would then be breaking news is where those threats and violence come from and who was funding it, with proof. Now, how do I say this without saying too much? When their lawyers and our lawyers were in talks, they wanted the proof of where these threats were coming from, who was funding them. Now, I had said all the violence to go out first, all that to be published first, and then the other evidence would be given to them. Now, the talks went on for about a week. We were promised that the stories would go out there. Like I said, they had all solid evidence, police reports, everything else from all these YouTubers. The lawyers of this particular newspaper came back and said, we're not going to run it. And their main reason was, and we all have text messages as proof, I got the message of that this reporter had spoken to Samantha Markle. I've never spoken to Samantha Markle. And the reason being that they would not put out the violence first was because Tom Markle Sr. has not had any threats since 2019. It didn't matter about Tom and Samantha. They were focused on if Tom Sr. had any threats. And since this reporter had gone to Samantha and asked Samantha if there was any threats issued to her father, she had said that no threats had been made since 2019. So this reporter came back with messages, and I have the messages as proof, and I'm pretty sure all the other YouTubers have messages of this reporter, them speaking to this reporter. They said they wouldn't run the story because of that, because he would be the main focus. They also came back with wanting the proof of the financials. Now, if that proof of the financials was to go to the papers, what do you think would happen with that proof? That proof would have been given to either Meghan and Harry or the palace. And then what would happen? The lawyers on this side suggested that they would either want to offer hush money or legal proceedings on the quiet. Now, what stupid person would give that information away and risk it to be squashed and threatened and the story not to be out there, consequences not to be out there. Now, because this side said no, you run that story first, you run those stories first, you set the scene, you let that sit there for a week or two, and then with legal documents from both sides signed, you put out where these payments are coming from, they wouldn't have a bar of it because they wanted those documents and they weren't getting them. Because how do you trust mainstream media to do the right thing? It was a testing the waters on this part. They wouldn't play ball on this side, and their excuse was that Thomas Markle Sr. hadn't received any threats since 2019. He's the main person, because obviously being her father, that we have to focus on. We had to focus on him having threats, and then other YouTubers that talk about Meghan and Harry having these threats. And they had all, like I said, they had all the police reports from these YouTubers, all video footage, everything. That wasn't good enough because Thomas Markle Sr. hadn't been threatened. He had to be the main character in this story being put out there. Now, I found that quite disgusting because, like I said, it didn't matter about if Tom Jr., which I don't know if he's received threats, or Samantha, I don't know if she's received threats. I wouldn't have a clue. I've never spoken to her. And I haven't spoken for Tom for about 3 months. Now, I found that really disgusting because they really did not give two shits about all the other threats. So it has to be done another way. They were given a tiny bit of the financials to know that it was legit, but not enough to go out there and ruin it for everybody. They weren't happy with that. So, yeah, mainstream media is absolutely freaking crap. They would have done a deal with either Harry and Meghan or, of course, possibly the palace to keep it hush-hush. Am I saying that the palace would defend Harry? No, not really. But they probably wouldn't want the world to know that Harry is an evil, disgusting human being. I mean, let's face it, look who we're dealing with here. It's quite disappointing, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. And, well, let's see how that cat will be skinned. Mainstream media, hey? Gag order. Injunction. Isn't it weird that they wanted it to be Tom Sr. to be the main character in the threats and then the others to follow? It's freaking disgusting. But like I said, all of us YouTubers that were involved have all the messages from this particular person and all their reasons why. So, yeah. There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. There's a lot of people that talk a whole lot of absolute baloney. But, you know, conspiracy theories are fun. facts are more fun. When you have facts, it's more interesting. I mean, conspiracy theories make good content, don't they? I mean, have a look at all the conspiracy theories out there surrounding this situation. Some of them just literally make you laugh, and some of them make your head spin and go, you really should have been a book writer or, a movie producer, because your imagination is absolutely out there. You got to laugh. To me, some of these things are absolutely humorous, but, it makes for interesting listening, doesn't it? Anyhow, let me know what you guys think about mainstream media. We know how they like to go with narratives. I mean, you just got to look at the pandemic, how they dealt with that. They're really good at pushing their own narrative. There's not many good investigative journalists these days at all. Ones that want to go out on a limb for the truth. It's pretty sad, isn't it? I don't actually watch mainstream media because I really couldn't give a shit, to be honest. I get bits and pieces from here and there. But yeah, there you have it. I mean, I could post all the messages, but I don't really want to. I could black out certain things, but I'm not someone that throws someone under the bus. Do I trust that person that I was talking to, or that we're all talking to? Well, I don't know. I don't know them 100%, so how can I say? Interesting times ahead. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your day. Let me know your thoughts down below. And I don't think Harry is as protected as he thinks in this area. He certainly is squirming for protection, isn't he? Like, nobody wants to harm him. He's doing his harm all himself. I think he should lay off the happy tobacco and the booger sugar and stop being so paranoid and live his life. Go live your life with your children and your wife. Just be happy. He can't do that, can he? Unless he's having a whinge-a-thon. Anyhow, thanks for listening to my TED Talk about the MSM. We shall chat soon. Bye.